Hello, everyone. My name is Paul Laporte, and I am one of the creators of Book It Battle Royal. This has gone out to a lot of our Kickstarter backers and is available on the Foamhammer Games website. And based on feedback we've been getting, there has been some confusion about how to lay out the game and play the game. Book It Battle Royal is a variation of a solitaire game known as Free Cell, and myself and the creator James Freeman, being of a certain age, I think perhaps we might have taken for granted that more people know how to play Free Cell than actually do at this point. It was a very popular game that was included in older computer operating systems, versions of Windows, things like that. That's kind of where we got the inspiration for it. But if you are not familiar with it, it is a little bit difficult to kind of visualize. So I figured we would just do a little bit of a tutorial video, just kind of going over the layout of the game, a little bit of how to play it, and just a little bit of a walkthrough through the player abilities and the champion abilities. So the theme of Book It Battle Royal is that it is a battle royal wrestling match where all the wrestlers are in the ring at once, and it is your job as Majin Panda to eliminate all of them and be the last man or panda, as it were, standing. So as far as the initial setup of the game goes, you deal out the board like this. So you take the whole deck, you deal it out into 7 columns. Each of them will have 7 cards in them, except for the last one, which will have 6. Then from that point, you will choose which player card you want for Majin Panda. And then you will take that and you will put that in the last spot of the last column. So in this case, I'll just grab Powerhouse. We're not really worried about player abilities right now. Just kind of want to show how the game plays and how the board moves. So we'll get these other cards out of the way. And once this is all set, this is where you can begin the game. And in playing out the game, it does play similar to a game of solitaire, if you are familiar with that. But there are a few different ways that cards can move. So cards can move either on top of another card that is of a different alignment, so a different color, or if you have color vision issues, you can see the different icons in the upper right hand corner. These are baby faces, these are heels. So you were looking to move heels onto baby faces and baby faces onto heels. So a good example of what like a legal move would be on the board or within the ring, if we're using the terminology in the game, you can move James Caber Jr. onto Virgil Garrett because he is 1 value lower and he is of a different alignment. So you're moving a heel onto a face, you're moving an 8 onto a 9. So then that is a legal move. And now that exposes Freddy Komatawa to be able to move to another spot. So that is one way that you can move cards around. The other thing you can do, other than moving them onto other wrestlers with different alignments and higher values, is you can move them into one of the 4 corner spots up here at the top. So these are effectively, in the game Free Cell, these were the 4 free cells. In the game of Book It Battle Royal, these are what I imagine as the 4 corners of the ring. You're kind of getting people out of the way so you can deal with the other wrestlers in your face. So for these, anybody can go into any of these spots, including Majin Panda, although you're probably not gonna do that too frequently. So you can just take one of the wrestlers and then move them up into one of these spaces, and that will free up in a move for you later on that you may want to do. So those are things, and Tabletop Simulator is a little finicky, so let me just get things straightened out here. If you're playing at home, this is not an issue you will have. So get these here. So yes, so you can move. So like for example, say we wanted to move Apollo Contra. We wanted to get him out of this row. What we could do is we could move La Oscuridad up into a corner spot, which exposes Filthy Kenny. Now Filthy Kenny, we can move Apollo Contra over onto him. And now that opens up Napalm Takeshi, and then we can continue to go through that way. So that is another move you can make. So you can move them across the ring, so from one row onto another, as long as it is onto a wrestler that has 1 value higher and is of a different suit or alignment, if you will. or you can move them into a free corner spot to help free up some space. Now, once you have somebody in a corner spot, you can't move them out of the corner spot until you have a legal place to put them. So La Oscuridad can't leave the corner until he has an 11 babyface to go underneath. So that is something that you'll have to consider when you are moving wrestlers into these corner spots, because if the corner spots get jammed up, it can be very, very difficult to move wrestlers around because you are extremely limited in how you can do so. So that is something that you'll want to consider. Let's go ahead and just move some stuff back here. So I'll put these back here. We'll just kind of go back to the basics. So those are a few different examples of moves that you might see. Now, how do we get rid of wrestlers? So for this, we are looking to eliminate the lowest numbered wrestlers and then work up to the higher numbered wrestlers. So for example, if we were looking to say we move Majin Panda, again, because Majin Panda is a wild card, we'll get into him in a second, but we can move him onto any other babyface. Now we've exposed Joe Lawless. Joe Lawless, we could move onto a babyface 2. We could move him into a corner, but he is eligible for elimination because he is the lowest card in one of his alignments. So he is the lowest babyface right now. So what we can do is we can eliminate him. So we can move Joe Lawless into one of the elimination spots because he is a 1. So now that we have eliminated a 1, we can potentially eliminate a heel 2 if a heel 2 becomes exposed. So let's just say, for example, Joshi Queen wasn't here, she was somewhere else on the board. We have Sacrilegia exposed. Now we can move her into that elimination spot. And there are 2 spots for heels and 2 spots for baby faces. So you can have 2 separate piles going for each alignment that can help you be a little bit more flexible in how you're eliminating them and so on and so forth. So that is ultimately the goal, is you're looking to move wrestlers into corners, you're looking to move wrestlers onto other rows, and then work to eliminate them. So now let's go ahead and talk a little bit about, if I can get these guys separated here. There we go. Getting back to a default here. Let's go ahead and talk about the different champion abilities. So as you are going through and moving wrestlers around and eliminating them, you will come across these champions who are the highest number in a suit. So if all of the other cards in one alignment have been eliminated, so we've gone 1 through 11 in one of the elimination spots, we can now eliminate a champion in that alignment. So we have eliminated a whole pile of 1 through 11 baby faces. So everybody from Luchadillo on up to Proscrito, we have one pile that goes from 1 to 11. We can now eliminate Joshi Queen and take her out of the game and be one of the champions that we remove. Similarly, if we have a number 1 heel through a number 11 heel in a pile and Mox Ambrosia is exposed, then we can eliminate her. However, the champions are a little bit more tricky to eliminate than the other wrestlers, and they usually have some sort of condition that surrounds them that can cause problems or complications with eliminating them. So let's go ahead and just take a look at those real quick. So the first is Joshi Queen. So Joshi Queen's ability is unstoppable. She cannot be placed into a corner. So these corner spots up here, can't put her there. That makes her very difficult to move around. You can only move her into another column here where she is available. And that really is, if you're a champion, you can really only move them into a new column if a column becomes empty. So if, for example, this column had been cleared out completely, so we just move these out of here, all these wrestlers had been eliminated or moved on to other wrestlers, or they're in the corner, and we had a blank column, we could move a champion over here. And practically, that is the only thing you can really do with Joshi Queen. So if Joshi Queen is exposed, you really want to try and get one of these columns freed up as quickly as possible. Otherwise, she is going to jam up the works. We'll just lay this back out kind of however we need to here. Again, if you're playing this at home, you don't have to deal with the jankiness of Tabletop Simulator. But I figured this was the easiest way to kind of just show things as quickly as possible. So that's Joshi Queen's ability. She cannot be placed into a corner. The next ability we have is of Celtic Demon, who is one of the heal champions. Celtic Demon has a terrifying presence. Whenever he is exposed, he cancels all the special abilities of Majin Panda. So whatever the player ability is of the Majin Panda you selected simply does not work when Celtic Demon is exposed. So in Powerhouse's case, you can move an exposed wrestler that is directly underneath Majin Panda into a fifth corner. So say Apollo Contra was here, you can move him into a fifth corner. We'll get into the player abilities a little bit later, but if Celtic Demon was exposed, you could not do that. You would be restricted to your four corners. So Celtic Demon does kind of put a wrench in things, especially if you're something like High Flyer, where you're like, hey, board's kind of locked up, I need to shuffle things up, let's try and figure something out. Then that could be an issue. So he is somebody who can potentially jam things up, but overall, probably in terms of like lose the game, not going to be as big of a threat. The next one we have here is Mox Ambrosia. Her ability is Chaos Agent. Whenever Mox Ambrosia is exposed, take the two wrestlers on the bottom of the row immediately to the right and place them under her. So, okay, so we moved Buffy into a free corner. Now Mox Ambrosia is exposed. Immediately, once she is exposed, we take Napalm Takeshi and Apollo Contra and throw them underneath her. So this kind of just insulates Mox Ambrosia, makes things a little bit difficult for you to try and stack guys under her, start to try and work to eliminate people. She does not make your life easy. However, her ability does not fire off if there is nobody to the right of her. So if she happens to either be in the rightmost column, so say we'll just like switch Panda's spot and her spot. So say in the deal, she started off over here, you take two wrestlers to the right, there's nobody to the right, so her ability is canceled, it's nullified. Or if she is in a space and the column to the right of her, let's say all these guys were eliminated, we'll just group them up, get them out of here for a second. So if this was a situation where Mox Ambrosia was exposed here, and there is nobody to the right of her, then the ability will not fire off as well. So that is, let's keep Panda down here. So that is her ability. Again, it makes her very difficult to eliminate early on, and it means that you gotta kind of plan on how to work around her. You really gotta try and wait until she's exposed, or you really want to try and wait until you have somewhere where she can't do a lot of damage before you work to expose her. So that is Mox Ambrosia's ability. And then the last ability we have is of Harper Liam, and I think his can potentially be the most game ending if you are not prepared for it. So Harper Liam's ability is Cult Leader. Whenever he is exposed, turn all wrestlers in all corners face down. Those wrestlers have no alignment value or abilities while face down. Turn them face up as soon as Harper Liam is not exposed. So again, for an example, say we had these four wrestlers in the corners. So we have La Oscuridad, we have Napalm Takeshi, we have Kaida Thorn and Buffy. And we'll just slip around some of these other ones. Again, these are not legal movements. I'm just kind of shuffling just to bring up like a hypothetical scenario here. And now we have Harper Liam has been exposed. As soon as he's exposed, everybody goes face down. This means I can't move them anywhere. And now all my corners are locked up. This is a very, very bad situation because it effectively means all of your corner spots are gone until you get him covered up. So you either need to cover him up with heal 11 that gets exposed, or you need to get him eliminated. You need to figure out some sort of way to cover him up. Otherwise, he could potentially just flat out end the game on you because you run out of spaces. And again, in terms of ending the game, really that's when game over is. If you are in a situation where you can no longer move a wrestler or eliminate a wrestler, or if you're just stuck on one move continuously back and forth, and you can't really make any forward progress, that is effectively when the game is over. So again, that is just kind of an overview of the different abilities of the champions. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the abilities of the Majin Pandas. So these are your player abilities. As you'll notice, again, we have two baby faces and two heels. So the first thing to discuss is how Majin Panda moves around the board. So again, say we have a powerhouse Majin Panda, we selected him. He is a heel wrestler. So he is a heel alignment, and then the P effectively is just it's his player card, or Panda is what it stands for. But it also means that he is effectively a wild card heel. So he can go underneath any other babyface wrestler. So we can put him underneath Angelo Arrow, and that effectively means that Majin Panda is a 2 right now. And then if we needed we don't really need to move a 1 because we can eliminate them, but we can move a babyface 1 under him, something like that. Then that would, we can do that. So let's see another example here. So if we had Majin Panda here, we could effectively treat him as a wild card in the other direction. So say we wanted to move Hero to clear her out of the way, we can move her underneath Panda, and now Majin Panda is a 7 right now, because she is underneath him. So you can treat him as a wild in both directions, as long as it makes sense sequentially. So that is, one of the advantages for having Majin Panda is that he can be basically a wild card that you can use either to move around or to move people underneath him. So that is one of the advantages. The obvious other advantage is the abilities that the different Majin Pandas have. So starting off the powerhouse, as I mentioned, if we were to use Majin Panda, we can effectively take any wrestler that's underneath him and move them into a 5th corner. So say, again, we had all of our corners kind of jammed up with different wrestlers here. And we needed to have some extra room to breathe or move a wrestler around. We could, like, say, take Hero under here, put her under Majin Panda, and then Majin Panda could then move her into effectively a 5th corner. So this is like holding her over his head and carrying her around is what this kind of represents. So it does give you a little bit more leeway. Again, you can't have more than 5 corner spots with Powerhouse Panda. We would need to clear out one of these if we wanted to use his ability again. And of course, in this case, Celtic Demon's exposed. So we'll just cover that up because otherwise we couldn't do that. But that is how you use Majin Panda's powerhouse ability. So let's go ahead and move on to, we'll do the other heel panda, which is Cheater. So this is simply once per game, Majin Panda may move illegally. So this one you can kind of get a little bit creative with if you want to, depending on how things suit you. But the best example of what you could do is you could say move Majin Panda underneath another heel card. So you can move him onto underneath another heel card. So if you needed to get him out of the way, or if it benefited you for the purposes of moving the cards around, you could move him under another heel card. What else could you do with him? Again, similarly, if you had people jammed up in the corner spots, you could move Majin Panda into a 5th corner if you wanted to. Again, this is a legal move. There should not be no other corner there, but he can move there. Also, you could, this is, kind of a similar thing. You can move Majin Panda into his own row. You can get creative with it. We left it kind of intentionally open-ended, so you could get kind of creative with it. You could put him in an elimination spot if you wanted to. Technically, that's not legal, but you could do that. So you can get kind of crafty and kind of tricky with Majin Panda. Again, Celtic Demon's kind of screwing up my demo here, so we're going to just bury you a little bit deeper here, buddy, for the sample kind of initial layout here. So that is the Cheater Panda. So those are our 2 heel pandas. Let's go ahead and take a look at our babyface pandas. The first is that we will do Brawler Panda. So his ability is Knockout Shot. Once per game, when Majin Panda is exposed, you may take any wrestler in the ring and place them under Majin Panda. So this is very useful if you are looking to, like, you really need to get one specific number or one specific type of wrestler exposed. So say, you really need to eliminate a heel 9. to advance your board and to continue to eliminate guys. But like Red Newcastle's buried super deep. Where is the other heal 9 here? We had Red Newcastle. Amy Slater's down a couple of wrestlers. Maybe we can't get her exposed. You know, again, say in this example, the corners are filled up, so we can't utilize those. We can use Brawler's ability, and that doesn't just apply to heals. It can be to baby faces as well, to effectively just go grab Red Newcastle and just move him underneath. And then all these other ones, we can just kind of just shift them back upwards. Their align or their arrangement all stays the same here. So we just grab Red Newcastle, put him under Brawler Panda, and now he's exposed, so we can move him, you know, onto Huge Hughes or something like that. And again, that just allows us to just kind of get one extra kind of game-breaking move to help kind of free things up for us. So that is Brawler Panda, and then the other one, the final one, and this is probably what I would recommend as far as like the beginner one if you're like really not used to solitaire games, or you're having a difficult time winning. I do think High Flyer Panda is probably the easiest for a couple reasons. The first is, as far as his ability goes, is Huge Dive. Once per game, shuffle Majin Panda and all of the wrestlers in the ring together and deal out 8 even piles. Piles as columns. I probably should have changed the wording on that a little bit, but basically what it does is it allows you to reset the board. So it is effectively a get out of jail free card. The whole board is locked up. You take all of the wrestlers in the ring, as well as in the corner spots. Corner spots are in the ring. So basically, everybody who's not been eliminated, you shuffle them all together into one deck, and then you re-deal out the entire board into even columns. But the interesting thing for High Flyer is that he deals out into 8 even columns, as opposed to 7 columns. So because of this, that will stretch the board out a little bit more. It will have 8 wrestlers that you will have exposed at any given time instead of 7. So that should make things considerably easier to kind of sort out and deal with and finish off. Again, if you're getting experienced with the game and you feel like you're just winning a lot with High Flyer, he is kind of meant as an easier option for newer players. So, you know, you may not want to use him once you have won your first few games of Battle Royal. And then again, for movement purposes, we could take him and we could place him underneath any other heal as a wild card. Just so, you know, just for the purposes of movement, we can treat him as any number we want. And that is what that is represented by. So that is, in a nutshell, how to play Book It Battle Royal. I think I will, following this, do a demonstration game, just so you can see all of these abilities and things like that in action. I will real shuffle and deal a full board. Oh, the other thing to note is that in specifically the case of Mox Ambrosia, if you deal out the board and Mox Ambrosia is exposed, her ability happens right away. So, you know, if we grab Mox Ambrosia, this is going to make a mess, but if we grab her out from under here, and as we're dealing out everything, she is exposed right away. She is one of the bottom wrestlers here. So say like she was in Joshi Queen's spot. Then she would take the 2 wrestlers to the right of her and put them underneath her immediately. So she can start screwing things up right from point 1. So she would grab like Apollo Contra and Angelo Arrow and do it that way. And in terms of how you move things underneath Mox Ambrosia, you do start at the bottom and then you move up. So you would go bottom guy above, and then that's how you would line those up. So if that happens, if she's exposed, similarly, if Harper Liam gets exposed, then you can still move wrestlers in the corners, but as soon as they go into the corner, they will go face down. So that is something that you'll want to consider. However, the interesting thing with Harper Liam is that if he is in a quarter, he is not considered exposed. So if you can get Harper Liam into a corner spot, you can effectively shut off his ability. But you will not be able to move him until you get a free column open up, and as soon as you do, everything else goes face down. So again, it can be a very, very tricky guy to learn how to deal with. So again, that is just kind of a quick overview of everything. If you have any additional questions, you can comment on this video. You can. I always encourage people to check out the Discord. The Foam Hammer Games Discord link will be in the description below. We have a super great community there, so you can talk to other players. You can talk to other players about other Foam Hammer games like Book It, the Pro Wrestling Promoter card game, and all the other games that we're releasing. But this will at least give you a visual idea of how to play the game. This coupled with the game playthrough video that we're going to do should hopefully give you a pretty good idea of how things work. So thank you again. Hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to y'all some other time.